Welcome, my friends, to English Mindcast Daily tonight. Let us walk slowly into a city evening. The shops are warm, the streets are busy. A small bell rings when a customer opens a glass door. You can hear soft footsteps on the floor. You can smell fresh bread, clean paper bags, and rain on the road outside. Close your eyes and imagine a hand reaching into a pocket. Close your eyes and imagine coins touching each other with a small silver sound. Imagine a woman at a counter, holding a bag, waiting to pay. Imagine a small card in someone's hand, quiet and thin, but full of change. Have you ever bought something without using cash? Did you ever wonder why a small card can pay for food, clothes, or a hotel room? How did people begin to trust a piece of plastic? Why did shopping change so much? What if you had no card, no phone, and only the money in your pocket? Have you ever felt that paying is simple now, but maybe not simple before? Today, we will walk back in time to the story of credit cards. We will use simple English. We will learn through a real story about money, trust, and change. For a long time, shopping was very easy to understand. You wanted something, you gave money, you took the thing home. Coins and paper money moved from one hand to another. The shopkeeper could see the money, the buyer could see the thing. But here's the surprising thing. People did not always have enough cash with them. A family might need food before payday. A traveler might need a room before he could reach his bank. A worker might see a useful coat, but his money was at home, not in his pocket. So, another idea slowly grew. It was called credit. Credit means buying now and paying later. In simple words, someone says, "I trust you. You can pay me after this. Say it with me. Buy now, pay later." This idea was not new. In many towns, shopkeepers knew their customers. They knew their faces. They knew their families. A customer could say, "Please write it down." The shopkeeper might write the price in a small book. Later, the customer came back and paid. This was a simple kind of credit. It worked because people knew each other. Trust was close. Trust had a face. Trust lived on the same street. But there was a problem. What happened when people traveled? What happened in a large city where the shopkeeper did not know your name? What happened when stores became bigger, faster, and busier? Could trust still work when people were strangers? Some people said no. Some people feared it. They said, "If customers do not pay today, maybe they will never pay." Others said, "This will make people spend too much," and some shopkeepers did not want extra work. They did not want more books, more notes, more risk. So the dream was simple but difficult. People wanted a way to buy things without always carrying cash. Stores wanted a way to sell more things. Travelers wanted a way to move through the world with less worry. But everyone needed one quiet thing first. Trust. Here's the surprising thing. Before the modern credit card, many stores made their own small systems. Some gave regular customers a paper note. Some gave a metal tag or a store card. These were not for every place. They usually worked only in one store, one hotel, or one company. It was useful, but it was limited. A limited thing works only in a small space, like a key that opens one door, not many doors. You could buy from one store, but not from all stores. You could be trusted in one place, but unknown in the next place. Did this help people? Yes. Did it solve the whole problem? Not yet. Then something changed. Modern life began to move faster. People lived farther from the places where they worked. They traveled more. They ate in restaurants. They stayed in hotels. They bought things from larger stores. Life was growing into a wide road, not a small street. And on that wide road, cash could feel heavy. Coins could be lost. Paper money could run out. A person might have money in the bank, but no money in the hand. So the dream became bigger. Could there be one card for many places? Could a stranger walk into a restaurant and be trusted? Could a store receive payment later, without fear? Could a bank or company stand in the middle and say, "We will help both sides. Repeat after me. I can pay safely." This is where the credit card story becomes more than a story about shopping. It becomes a story about systems. A system is a set of parts that work together. One part is the customer. One part is the shop. One part is the company or bank. One part is the promise to pay. In simple words, the card became a bridge. On one side, the buyer wanted to take something now. On the other side, the seller wanted to receive money. The card helped the two sides meet. But bridges are not built in one day. People had to learn. Shops had to accept the card. Customers had to understand the bill. Companies had to check names, send papers, and collect payments. Mistakes could happen. Fear could grow. Trust could break. But the idea was strong because it answered a real need. It said, "You do not have to carry all your money with you." It said you can travel with more peace. It said a small card can carry a promise, and that S when shopping habits began to change. People started to think differently at the counter. Before, the question was, do I have enough cash right now with a card? The question became, can I pay for this later? That small change was powerful. It made buying easier. It made shopping faster. It also made choices more serious. Why serious? Because paying later is still paying. A card is not free money. It is a promise, and every promise has a tomorrow. One more time. A card is a promise. So our story begins with a dream. The dream was not only to buy more, it was to move more freely. It was to make payments easier in a changing world. But the dream also carried doubt. Could people use credit wisely? Could companies protect customers? Could stores trust a small card more than coins in a hand? The answer did not come all at once. It came slowly through many hands, many counters, many bills, and many lessons. At first, using a card could feel strange. Imagine standing in a shop with no coins in your hand. Imagine giving a card to a stranger and watching that person write down your name. Would the payment really work? Would the store really get its money? Would you remember to pay the bill later? Here is the surprising thing. A credit card was small, but it needed a large world behind it. It needed workers in offices. It needed papers, machines, phone calls, lists, and careful records. It needed people who could check one simple question again and again. Can this person pay? So the build began. Not like a tower made of stone, not like a bridge made of steel. This was a different kind of building. It was built with rules. It was built with trust. It was built with habits, and habits are slow to change. Some stores had to learn how to accept cards. A worker had to take the card, record the sale, and send the information. The company had to read the record. Then the customer had to receive a bill. After that, the customer had to pay. It was like a giant puzzle, but every piece had to move in the right order. Try this phrase, step by step. Because of this, early card payments were not as fast as today. They could feel careful and slow. A person might wait while the shop checked something. A worker might copy numbers by hand. A mistake in one number could create trouble later. But then something changed. More people began to understand the idea. More stores accepted cards. More customers carried them. And each time a payment worked, trust grew a little more. Why do we trust something often? Because it works again and again. The first time we feel unsure. The second time we feel better. After many times, it becomes normal. This is how change enters daily life. It knocks softly at first. Then one day, it is already inside the house, and that is what happened with cards. They moved from being a special thing to being an everyday thing. People used them in shops. They used them in restaurants. They used them while traveling. They used them when they did not want to carry much cash. For shoppers, the first payoff was comfort. You could buy something even when you did not have enough paper money in your pocket. You could keep a record of what you spent. You could pay one bill later instead of making many small payments every day. For stores, the payoff was also clear. Customers could buy more easily. Lines could move faster over time. A person who wanted a larger item did not always have to leave and come back with cash. The store could say yes more often, but there was a problem. Easy payment can make spending feel too easy. Have you ever bought something quickly and thought about it only later? Have you ever seen a beautiful thing and felt your heart say yes before your mind says wait? Why does a card feel lighter than cash? Why does paying later sometimes feel less real? This was the twist in the story. Credit cards helped people, but they also asked people to learn a new kind of care. With cash, you can see your money leave your hand. With a card, the money is quiet. The payment can feel invisible, but it is still real. Say it with me. Pay later, think today. This became one of the great lessons of modern payments. A credit card can be useful, but it must be used with a calm mind. It can help in travel, in emergency, and in daily life. But it can also bring stress if a person forgets the promise behind it. So the card story is not only about business, it is about human behavior. Behavior means the way people act. When the way to pay changes, the way people shop can change too. People may compare less, they may decide faster. They may buy now and think later. But then came the smart solution. Over time, card systems became clearer and safer. Bills helped people see what they bought. Rules helped protect buyers and sellers. Banks and card companies built better ways to check payments. Stores learned better steps. Customers learned to read their bills and watch their spending. This is how the card found its place. It was not just a magic key for shopping. It became a tool. A tool can help you, but you must hold it well. A hammer can build a home, but only if the builder uses it with care. A card can help your life, but only if you remember the promise. And here is the surprising thing. The credit card also changed what people expected from shopping. Before, shopping often meant planning around cash. You checked your pocket, you counted your money, you chose what you could carry home with cards. Shopping became more flexible. Flexible means able to bend or change. You could choose a time, a place, and a way to pay. You could travel farther, you could buy from many kinds of stores. Later, as payments kept changing, people could even buy without standing in a shop at all. What did this do to daily life? It made buying faster. It made travel easier. It made record-keeping more common. It also made people more connected to banks and payment companies. A simple trip to a store now touched a larger system, and that S when the small card became a sign of modern life. Think of a busy morning. Someone buys coffee. Someone pays for a train ticket. Someone orders a gift. Someone books a room. In many places, hands no longer count coins. Instead, a card appears. A machine reads, and the day moves on. Repeat after me, the day moves on. But we should not forget the people behind this smooth moment. Someone had to design the rules. Someone had to build the machines. Someone had to answer calls when payments failed. Someone had to make the system safer. Many ordinary workers help turn a strange idea into a common habit. This is often how big change works. We remember the object, but we forget the hands. We see the card, but we do not see the offices, the records, the learning, and the trust. We see the fast payment, but not the long road that made it possible. So, why do we use credit cards? Because they solve old problems in a new way. They help us carry less cash. They help stores sell more easily. They help travelers move with less fear. They give us records. They give us time. But they also give us a question. Can we use easy payment with wise choices? Can we enjoy comfort without losing control? Can we remember that every simple tap or swipe is still connected to real work, real money, and a real tomorrow? Now let us walk into the present day. The shop is brighter. The counter is smaller. The machine is quiet. A person takes out a card, touches it to the screen, and hears a soft sound. The payment is finished in a moment, but here's the surprising thing, that one small moment carries a long story. It carries the old shopkeeper's book. It carries the traveler who needed a room. It carries the worker who waited for payday. It carries the store that wanted to say yes. It carries years of change and years of trust. Did people from the past imagine this? Could they picture a world where a thin card could open so many doors? Could they believe that shopping would become so quick? What would they think if they saw a person buy dinner, pay a bill, and book a trip without touching cash? And still, the heart of the story is the same. People need things. People make promises. People look for easier ways to live. The card is modern, but the human need is old. Try this phrase: a promise matters. A credit card can feel ordinary now. We may not stop to think about it. We may use it for food, travel, clothes, school items, or small daily needs. We may keep it in a wallet and forget how powerful it is. But every ordinary tool has a story inside it. Think of a cup. Someone made it. Think of a road. Someone built it. Think of a card. Someone had to create a way for strangers to trust each other. That is a quiet wonder. But then, the story gives us another lesson. Easy things can still need care. When payment becomes fast, thinking must not become slow. When buying becomes simple, choosing must stay wise. Because a card can help, but it cannot decide for you. Have you ever paused before buying something? Have you ever asked, "Do I need this?" Have you ever felt proud because you waited? Why can waiting be so strong? Why can a small no today become peace tomorrow? This is part of growing up in a modern world. We use modern tools, but we keep an old skill: careful thinking. A credit card can be useful when we understand it. It can help us in travel. It can help us keep records. It can help us in a hard moment. But it is best when we remember the promise behind the payment. Say it with me. Think before you buy. And that S, when the card becomes more than plastic, it becomes a lesson in balance. Balance means holding two sides together. One side is freedom. The other side is responsibility. Freedom says, I can choose. Responsibility says, I can handle my choice. In simple words, the card gives power, and power needs care. Over time, payments kept changing. Cards became easier to carry. Machines became faster. Online shopping became common. People could buy from far away. A small shop could reach customers in many places. A person could sit at home and order something from another city. This is how modern payments changed shopping habits. Shopping was no longer only a trip to the market. It became part of daily life at any hour. Morning, afternoon, or night, people could look, choose, and pay. The world of buying became open longer, wider, and faster. But here's the surprising thing. Even with all this speed, people still want the same simple things. They want safety, They want fairness, they want clear bills. They want help when something goes wrong. They want to feel that their money is handled with trust. So the story continues. Companies improve systems. Stores learn new ways. Customers learn better habits. Rules change when new problems appear. Each generation takes the old dream and builds the next step. What is the dream now? Maybe it is not only about paying faster. Maybe it is about paying smarter. Maybe it is about helping people understand money better. Maybe it is about making shopping easy, but also clear and safe. Repeat after me. Easy and safe. This is why the credit card story matters. It is not a cold story about banks and bills. It is a warm story about people trying to solve daily problems. A person wants to eat while traveling. A family wants to buy what they need. A shop wants to serve more customers. A system grows because life asks for it. And yes, there were doubts. Some people feared credit. Some people made mistakes. Some people spent too much. Some stores did not trust the new way at first. But little by little, the card found its role. It did not replace every kind of payment. It became one important tool among many. That is often the way of change. It does not always arrive like thunder. Sometimes it arrives quietly, in a pocket, in a wallet, in a small machine at a counter. At first, people ask questions. Later, children grow up thinking it has always been there. But we know better now. We have walked back through the story. We have seen cash in a hand, a name in a shopkeeper's book, a promise on paper, and a card at the counter. We have seen doubt, effort, learning, and trust. So when you see a credit card today, do not see only plastic. See a bridge. See many people trying to make daily life easier. See a promise moving between a buyer and a seller. See a long road from old markets to modern shops. One more time, it is a bridge. Think about your own life. What tools do you use every day without thinking? What small object helps you move through the world? What will you build with care, with patience, and with trust? Maybe your dream is not a payment system. Maybe it is a skill, a home, a business, or a kinder way to live. But every dream needs small steps. Every useful thing begins with a need. And every good future asks us to choose wisely today. So tonight, as the city becomes quiet and the shop lights turn soft, remember this simple story. A small card changed shopping because people needed a new way to trust. And in our own lives, trust can still build bridges. Good night, my friends. Keep learning, keep listening, and rest well.